So listen, there are two things that are more likely to happen today than any other day on the 3-day detox. One of them, I mentioned it yesterday, is that you could today feel disproportionately tired and you might get a little bit tetchy, a little bit edgy, and that is due to the false hungers leaving your body. It's not the body detoxing or anything like that, it's to do with the withdrawal again. I mentioned it yesterday on the video, I can't say it enough. If somebody's stopping smoking, it's quite easy to see, because when somebody's stopping smoking, nicotine will leave their body in 3 days. Now you might think it takes longer, that it doesn't. Even if you've been smoking for 20 years and you've been smoking 20 a day, it still only takes 3 days for 99.99% of all the nicotine to leave the body. Forced stimulants, the body wants to get rid of the forced stimulants and the withdrawal from the body. Now, the same refined sugars, refined fats, and the caffeines. And in fact, actually, some of you may experience a headache, you might have done yesterday or even today, but even if you're a very heavy coffee drinker, only about 40% of even very heavy coffee drinkers experience any kind of headache. So it doesn't mean you will do, but today is more pronounced really than any other day. Day 2 is the day, the reason why I say that is day 2 is the day for me that if I'm gonna suffer, quote unquote, at all, it's on day 2. And I tend to, if I've been traveling a lot and eating on airplanes and all kinds of stuff, and I think, right, I'm gonna furnish my body, just flush it out, 3-day detox is the one that I do. Day 2, usually in the afternoon, I start to flag a bit. A couple of things you can do about that. One, if you've got the time, you can of course just tuck in and go to bed, get an afternoon nap. Very few of us are in the position where we can go ahead and do that. Your body wants to be stimulated another way. Regardless of how you feel, you might think the last thing you want to do is do any exercise. But I tell you now, just go for a walk outside, get some fresh air and start to just rev up the body a little bit and you start to come alive a little bit. Also, it just helps with your mood. You move your physiology, you change your mood as well. Also, remember the can-can't that I talked about yesterday? If the little junky food terrorists are popping up and saying, I want certain foods, remember, you don't want them. That's why you're doing this 3-day thing. It's only 3 days. I can't emphasize that enough. If you go ahead and start eating a bag of crisps or anything, you will feel like a failure. Why? Because you are ultimately, I know it sounds a bit harsh, but it's 3 days. You think about what some humans go through on a consistent daily basis. You think of the Olympics that happened in 2012 here in London, and you just think, look at what people did, and they trained 4 years, everything. They made so many sacrifices. 3 days of juice. That's all it is. Beautiful juices at that. We're making a fruit smoothie that you're having this morning. Please, I can't emphasize, don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. And does it need to be difficult? No, if you're in the right frame of mind. But you need to understand things like in the evening where you're going to get maybe a little bit tired, a little bit hungry. Those hungers aren't real. You're getting all the nutrients. I can't say that enough. They're false hungers, but they do appear real, F-E-A-R, so they create fear and anxiety. And then often the brain can be tricked to think, I'm not going to survive without it. These feelings go away within 1 or 2 minutes, providing you understand you can have it, but you don't want it. And the easiest things to do is have a cup of tea, like I said, maybe with some Manuka honey in if that's what you want. Go for a walk, do a blitz of an exercise, or go and get some rest. If you can, even at lunchtime, get a half an hour power nap. Today is the day to do that. And remember, store your juices, whatever the case is. If you really must eat something, if that's how your head is, eat some raw carrot. Eat half an avocado if you must. Eat, a blackberry if you want, or something along the lines of an apple. But whatever you do, don't reach for what I call high HI foods. I'll be talking about this tomorrow in depth, but I talk about low HI and high HI. And I'm talking about HI. I'm not talking about GI, glycemic index, which everybody was around a few years ago, or GL, glycemic load. HI, we're looking for either 0 HI foods or low HI foods. That's human intervention. See, the more humans interfere with your food, then the likelihood is the more damage it's going to do to your body. All creatures on the planet eat no HI foods. There's no human intervention in the foods at all, except the pets that we feed. And the pets that we feed have the diseases that we do. The diseases that we suffer with consistently in not only old age now, but it's coming middle age, and even there's early onset, well, it used to be called early onset diabetes, but now there's children getting diabetes. There's like an epidemic going on. In the wild, they don't suffer from that. Tomorrow, I'm talking about what happens to people when they remove all the toxicity going into their body and they furnish it with this stuff, not just for 3 days. You're only on day 2 now. You're going to feel great by the morning of day 4, by the way. So please, don't give in to this at all. Don't give in to the junky food terrorists. I mean, you really regret it, especially if I could catapult you now. If honestly, I'll tell you this now. If I could just go boom, you're there on whatever, the 4th morning. That's Thursday morning for most people. They start on a Monday. If I can just catapult you 3 days into the future, into that morning, you will find this thing a breeze. You say, oh my God, I can't believe how well I feel and how well that I look. But tomorrow's video is all about taking you one stage further to make sure that you don't do something crazy after the 3-day detox, by having a Kentucky Fried Chicken as breakfast for your fourth morning. You know, we want to make sure that you go into low HI foods where there's salads or soups or anything else. And I've given you some examples of precisely what you can do for the first 2 days in particular afterwards. You may be so juiced, so excited on day 4 that you want to continue for another 2 days to make it a 5-day or another 4 days to make it a 7-day. Now today I hope you're reading stuff as well, inspirational stuff. Try and watch as little telly as you can. If you can have any screen time, make sure it's motivational. If you watch telly, there are a million adverts for food, right? Your chunky food terrorists will just be looking at going, look at, and remember you can have it, you don't want it, but you know, you don't want to be there at 9 o'clock at night watching telly and they're just eating tons of food and makes you believe that you want it, even when you don't. You don't want to cause any aggro at all. Read some books, keep yourself stimulated, make sure that you have your juice. By the way, don't not have your juice, you think there's no way I won't. But some people either get CBA syndrome, which is called can't be asked, so they can't be asked, or they just don't feel hungry for some reason for one of their juices. Have your juice, even a sip, whatever it is, make sure that you have your juice because you want to make sure that every 3 hours there's something going into your body to keep the sugar levels stable. That is the lecture for today. That's it. It sounds like a lecture. I'm aware that it sounds like a lecture, but that's because I know how good you're going to feel on day 4. So even if people around you picking on you or saying, it's not healthy to live on juice, as they shove another friggin' hamburger down their throat, it's extraordinary the amount of people eating crap that tell you the minute you have this in juice form, you're somehow doing some damage in your body. I've been doing it 15 years and it drives me mad. I've got so many testimonies from every single ailment you can imagine. I know you're probably doing this just to lose a bit of weight, but I guarantee you now, whatever other apparent ailments that you're having, day 4, things start to clear up. Things start to feel better. Even mild arthritis starts to get better and so on. It sounds like there's a miracle cure, but this is nature stuff. Let food be thy medicine. You know, that's what we need to look at. Or moreover, let juice be thy medicine. Like I said, it's another lecture today. Go about your day, whatever it is, but don't be doom and gloom. That's why people fail on this stuff. Enjoy the process. You know what, look, I get the opportunity to have access to the finest fruits and vegetables on earth. I'm not prosecuted. I live with a roof over my head. I have a great life. Think of the people that are in your world that you can connect with, that you love. You're in a rare position on this earth, and you should be one happy camper today, but we get caught up with some other stuff. So if you can, stay focused, stay a happy camper, realizing what you have the opportunity to get to today, when 50% of the world would tear their right arm off to be able to get hold of any of this produce. So it's not, is this all I can have? I get the opportunity to have. It's just a different mindset, but you feel a lot better. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Cheers. Man, that's friggin' good.